Hello everyone, my name is Derek Todd from Deaf Scotland. We've got a guest with us today. Introduce yourself please. Hi everyone, my name is Donald Richards. I'm the Deaf Scotland Convenor. It's good to see you, Derek. Are you well? All good. Thank you for taking part today, Donald. We also have David Milligan, who is interpreting today to make sure that it's fully accessible. Thank you both. Now, the first question that I have for you, Donald, you've been involved in the BSL for a very long time, but with the bill and the development of that bill to it becoming an act, from the language aspect to the national plan, the authority plans, what's your involvement been there? Well, Derek, I was first involved with the Scottish Council on Deafness from 2011, known as SCOD. I was a board member. One of the issues that came up was about the development of a BSL plan to become a BSL bill, which was something that really caught my attention. Now, that person had been campaigning for a very long time, and this person was Lillian Lawson. She was the director of SCOD. So as I said, this really caught my attention and I really had high hopes for it. It seemed like everybody in the board, we were all behind this idea of getting through to the Scottish Parliament in order to have this bill passed through. So we kept at it and we brought it to the table many, many times with various meetings throughout different stages. You know, it was stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and then finally went to the Scottish Parliament for a vote. And this was Thursday, the 17th of September 2015. To my surprise, when I got there, there was a massive crowd, a huge following. We had to obviously go through security in Parliament. You know, that was a tedious process itself, but the excitement was far better. There was also an aspect of nervousness. You know, will this bill go through or not? So we went up the stairs in the Scottish Parliament. We followed a guide throughout the building itself, and we got to the gallery of the parliamentary room, where we got to see all of the MSPs sitting in their seats with the, you know, their microphones, and there was also the presiding officer and 2 other members of staff sitting at the front of the room. So when they got through all the various acts, we were pretty much the last one, and the person announced, will you approve the BSL Scotland Act bill? And there was a unanimous decision. Everybody was saying yes, and the presiding officer declared to the room there's been 100% support behind this, and it was therefore passed. Now, we obviously erupted at that point. Some of us were crying, some of us had lumps in our throat, because this has been a long time coming. You know, we've been campaigning for years. We knew that this was very much the start of the journey, but what an opportunity to be there and see a part of history. You know, it's a historic moment. When it finished, we went to one of the cafes nearby. It was a Swedish cafe. It was called Hemma. I remember going there and going upstairs, and there was a drinks reception, some nibbles, and there was some filming going on, some media work. Some people were being interviewed, and just the atmosphere was electric, and we really looked forward to how the future was looking. So it was a great time for all. Donald, you're bringing up all these past memories of the excitement and the emotional roller coaster we went through. That's actually linked on to question 3, which is fantastic. Where were you the 17th of September 2015? What were you doing on that day? Could you give us a wee bit more? I know you were at Parliament, but can I just ask you what you thought? You know, you said it was a historic moment, which I totally agree, but expand a little bit. Yeah, Derek, as I said, once that bill was unanimously decided that it was going through, that date of the 17th of September 2015 was just, you know, it was etched in my mind. I remember communicating with loads of other deaf people and other organisations to all meet up in Edinburgh on that date. And, you know, it was old friends, it was new friends. We all combined to one massive following, and we all had the enthusiasm that this was going to happen. I mentioned that we went through security, which was a tedious process, but that didn't matter by the time you got to that gallery. The interpreter, well, actually, that was another thing. The interpreter that was up there was going through various other bills, and it wasn't until it came to our turn there was complete silence in the room, and we knew, right, this is it. This is the one for us. And the interpreter was signing away, and as soon as all the MSPs agreed unanimously that it was just unbelievable. You may remember seeing a photo, or was it a video clip of, is it Mark Griffin, MSP? He had a big smile on his face as he was the one who was taking over from Cathy Craig. And he had, you know, control of that bill and fought for it to get through. And once it was unanimously, agreed, I could see him looking up to the galleries where we were all looking down and just cheering and giving him the thumbs up, and we were all kissing each other and crying, and it was just an emotional journey, but a wonderful, wonderful moment. Donald, that's really interesting. I agree. I was totally proud, and I respect the First Minister as well. She took the time to go and shake Mark Griffin's hand and say, well done. So, to have that level of recognition there throughout the political parties was fantastic to see. It was a beautiful day. Totally agree, Derek. So, fast forward 5 years, we're now here in 2020. It's, I can't believe it's been 5 years. What does it mean to you now? What kind of impact has it made on you in the past 5 years? Well, Derek, for me, I believe the team that was selected for the national plan, the BSL national plan, they had to work with hearing people as well. We all had to work together, to be honest, to respect each other and come up with these policies and protocols in order for these meetings to be successful. The second group then came in, and that process went on. It seemed like it was a bit of a slow start. We'd noticed small things happening, whether it be money exchanging, or you could see people in the street signing, just saying simple things like thank you. And when we dug a little deeper to how these people knew how to sign, it was they either met a deaf person or was provided classes by their work, which was a great start, but we need more of that within the frontline staff. We need them to be taught to sign the basics so that we can have that conversation with them. But these are the small things we noticed at first. I think the biggest impact for me was more recently with obviously the coronavirus pandemic that we're going through at the moment. That was a big thing. It's very visual to notice the media constantly going on about it. When the First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, was up speaking, there was an interpreter there, and this was on mainstream media channels, and a lot of hearing people are looking at it going, who's the person signing in the back, and understanding why. It's not the same as other languages where you have to audio listen to that. So I think that visual representation of having an interpreter behind the First Minister has created quite a good positive wave. There's a team of them, so I really thank them, and I thank the BBC Scotland for providing that opportunity, because regardless of the politics, it's all about equal access and to respect the deaf BSL using community in Scotland. Wow, Donald, I couldn't agree more. That's very important information for BSL users to access. So now that it's 2020, we're looking ahead. What's one thing that you would like to see happen next, if you will? What do you want to see big impact that's going to happen next? Well, Derek, I think I would like to see happening next is the use of BSL, the more of it, respecting the right of access to BSL users a lot more, in a lot wider context, not just to do with politics or voting, to do with everyday things. Next year is going to be the Scottish election for 2021. So, hopefully we can have full access to the information there, as well as, what other hearing people get. We want the same information in BSL of how we, simplistic things, how we vote, where to go to vote, as well as all the other information that surrounds that. So I really hope in the future there'll be more BSL interpreters involved there, not just within BBC Scotland. That's just one. STV News, you know, starting from 6, we want to see that half-hour kind of news burst programme that they have that covers a range of Scottish issues. We want that covered in BSL as well. Those 5-minute clips we're currently getting aren't good enough. So to think, you know, going forward, what I would like to see would be more access to mainstream media. A signer, an in-vision signer at 6 o'clock news, covering the whole story. You know, I think that would be fantastic. And it would be good for the deaf community to then, you know, talk to each other about the goings on. I remember from, well, my wife's from a small town in Elgin. They have access to STV News, but unfortunately there was no signer there. It was just subtitles. That's why I campaigned for an in-vision signer. That would be good. Just something to think about for the future. Brilliant, Donald. Brilliant. Going forward then, what's one thing that you can do to make sure that within everyday life, BSL users are included in society and treated, you know, an equal status and equality there? What can you do? Derek, I think it's important that we mention deaf awareness. You know, having, whether it's videos or DVD clips shared, you know, and I think having people having access to these clips would bring on a lot more deaf awareness. I mean that because having people to go and, you know, get involved in a formal course or make an effort to go somewhere, I think that's going to put them off. But I think a lot of local authorities could maybe, you know, through their media teams or press officers, HR, whatever it is, they could share that information and provide it to people. And if there's any questions there, they could signpost to organisations like Deaf Scotland and various others for a bit of guidance. It's just about treating everybody equally. That's what I'm trying to say. That's a wonderful idea, Donald. That's something very different indeed. I know that, you know, some DVDs or even USBs are ways of carrying media to share with each other. Everything's digital now, as you know. You know, a lot of the face-to-face work is disseminating, so it's all online. Derek, if you don't mind me just adding, I think in terms of moving forward, it's, yeah, I agree, it's digital. We very rarely use pen and paper now, or even DVDs. We are definitely now within the digital age, so it's about how we can utilise that and use that as a resource to publicise and share information. Now, I'm a bit too old for it. I think I'll be a very old man by the time, you know, I can get my head around it, but certainly for the next generation, it's something we really need to think about. Maybe telepathic messages can be shared in the future, who knows? But yeah, obviously I'm joking, but sharing digitally is important. Listen, Donald, you never know with technology. The changes are happening every single day and the improvements are there. One day we might even have holograms of people. You know, you just never know. They're already working on that, I'm sure. But listen, Donald, thank you for your time. Your contribution's been invaluable. Everything you've mentioned from the act, the process that you went through there, thank you. Thank you for your time, and thanks, David, as well. No, thank you, Derek. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Take care. Bye-bye.